Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly, while others struggle year after year, no matter how hard they work? What if I told you that hidden within ancient words are spiritual keys, psalms that can immediately shift your financial destiny? These psalms are not ordinary words. They are spiritual codes designed to release provision, multiply resources, and position you for overflow. When spoken with faith, they do more than comfort the soul. They attract abundance, clear blockages, and accelerate increase. And if you stay with me until the very end of this message, you will discover the 7 psalms that not only attract immediate wealth, but carry the secret of multiplying your money 70 times 7. This is not just a teaching. This is a transformational revelation that will change how you pray, how you think, and how you receive. The power of spiritual wealth codes lies in understanding that sacred words are not just poetic expressions or ancient writings. They are living vibrations that carry divine authority. Certain psalms, when declared with unwavering faith, act like keys placed into invisible locks, unlocking doors of provision, favor, and prosperity that were once shut. Words carry energy, and when those words are divinely inspired, they hold the frequency of heaven's abundance. These psalms are wealth codes because they align your heart, your mind, and your spirit with the flow of increase. They are more than words you read. They are portals of transformation that connect you to a higher current of prosperity. When people struggle financially, often the problem is not just lack of resources, but misalignment in spirit. Fear, doubt, and negative beliefs create blockages that choke the flow of abundance. Reciting and meditating on psalms of wealth reprograms those inner patterns. Each word carries vibration. Each declaration releases faith. And together they begin to dissolve the walls of limitation. A single psalm spoken repeatedly with conviction has the power to break generational cycles of lack and replace them with streams of prosperity. It is not superstition, it is spiritual law. When your energy aligns with divine abundance, money and opportunities are magnetized to you. These psalms are not meant to be read casually. They must be spoken with intention. Just as a musician plays notes that unlock emotion, or a scientist activates a formula that produces a result, psalms function as spiritual formulas. They activate abundance in the unseen and pull it into the physical. The reason they work is because they bypass human limitations and connect directly to eternal power. When you open your mouth and declare a psalm, you are not only speaking words, you are releasing authority, charging your environment with divine frequency, and commanding alignment with wealth. Many people toil endlessly, relying only on hard labor to secure wealth, but they ignore the higher law that governs prosperity. Hard work alone, without spiritual alignment, often leads to exhaustion without overflow. But when psalms are spoken with faith, the invisible world begins to orchestrate opportunities, connections, and breakthroughs that human effort could never arrange. It is the merging of action with spiritual law that creates unstoppable prosperity. The Psalms are the wealth codes that ensure your actions are blessed, your hands are fruitful, and your path is clear. The dimension of these wealth codes is their ability to shift the atmosphere instantly. Words charged with divine authority change energy. Have you ever walked into a room and felt heaviness or limitation? When psalms are spoken into that atmosphere, it breaks, it lifts, and it clears. Suddenly ideas flow, doors open, and the environment becomes fertile for wealth. This is why people who consistently recite psalms of prosperity carry a different aura. They are surrounded by a field of abundance, and everything they touch responds to that frequency. Clients, business partners, and opportunities are drawn to them, not by chance, but by spiritual law working through these codes. The secret is faith. Without faith, words remain lifeless. But when psalms are spoken with unshakable belief, they transform into commands that the universe and the spiritual realm respond to. Faith is the electricity that powers the code. Imagine holding the most advanced key, but never inserting it into the lock. That is what happens when psalms are read without belief. But when spoken with conviction, they open immediate access to streams of wealth and favor. Faith gives the word substance, and once released, they cannot return empty. They must accomplish what they were sent to do. Lastly, these spiritual wealth codes are not for selfish gain alone. They are given so that abundance flows through you. The divine plan for wealth is multiplication with purpose, so that your increase becomes nourishment for others, your overflow becomes relief for the needy, and your prosperity becomes a testimony of transformation. When you treat wealth as a river rather than a reservoir, more is always supplied. The Psalms remind us not only to attract wealth, but to use it as a channel of blessing. The power of spiritual wealth codes is this: they align your heart with abundance, reprogram your mind to receive, and release words that carry the authority to manifest prosperity. They are divine keys hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to pick them up, speak them with faith, and unlock the treasures prepared for your life. When you embrace them, you step into a flow where wealth is not chased. It is attracted, multiplied, and sustained. Wealth is often misunderstood as something purely material, something you can hold in your hands or count in your bank account. But in truth, wealth is energy. It is a vibration, a flow, a current that moves through life. Money is simply one of its expressions. When you begin to see wealth not only as paper, coins, or possessions, but as energy that responds to alignment, you unlock a deeper dimension of prosperity. This is why certain psalms, when spoken and meditated upon, do more than soothe your heart. They recalibrate your energy to match the frequency of abundance. They remove resistance and open the channels through which wealth can flow freely into your life. Everything in creation is energy. Thoughts are energy, words are energy, emotions are energy. Money itself is energy moving in exchange, circulating as people trade, buy, sell, and invest. If your energy is filled with fear, scarcity, or doubt, you block this flow, just as a dam blocks a river. But when your energy is aligned with abundance, gratitude, and expectation, you become like an open channel, and money naturally finds its way to you. Psalms function as powerful tools for this alignment because they carry the vibrations of divine truth. Each word resonates with frequencies that dismantle fear, dissolve scarcity, and replace them with confidence and flow. When you speak psalms of prosperity, you are not just repeating poetry, you are tuning your spirit. Just as a radio must be set to the correct frequency to pick up a signal, your life must resonate at the frequency of abundance to receive it. Many people are tuned to lack without realizing it. They constantly speak of what they don't have, worry about bills, and focus on limitations. This energy attracts more of the same. But Psalms retune you. They shift your focus from lack to supply, from fear to faith, from worry to trust. And when this shift happens, the flow of wealth begins to move without hindrance. Wealth as energy also teaches us that prosperity is not about accumulation alone, but about circulation. Just as the blood in your body must flow to keep you alive, wealth must circulate to remain abundant. If money comes into your life and you cling to it in fear, refusing to release or share it, the energy becomes stagnant. But when you allow it to move, investing wisely, giving generously, spending with gratitude, you create a cycle of flow. Psalms encourage this mindset by reminding you that abundance originates from an infinite source. There is no need to cling in fear, because the flow is never ending for those who remain aligned. When you live in alignment with Psalms, your relationship with money changes. You stop seeing it as a master and start seeing it as a servant. You no longer chase it anxiously, but allow it to be attracted to you by the energy you carry. Psalms of prosperity affirm your worthiness to receive, remind you of the limitless supply available, and create a sense of inner peace that allows you to act wisely with finances. This calm confidence draws wealth because energy responds to certainty more than desperation. Opportunities, partnerships, and ideas come more easily when your spirit radiates faith rather than fear. Another truth about wealth as energy is that it mirrors your inner world. If you are cluttered with negative emotions, unresolved conflicts, or bitterness, the flow of wealth will reflect that blockage. Psalms cleanse the inner atmosphere. They wash away the heaviness, calm the storm of worry, and establish a state of gratitude and peace. In this state, your energy becomes magnetic. Just as a magnet draws metal, your spirit draws money, resources, and favor. The outer flow of prosperity always begins with the inner alignment of energy. Finally, wealth as energy reminds us that abundance has purpose. Flow is never for one place alone. It is meant to pass through. When you align with Psalms, wealth not only flows to you but through you, touching others, building communities, and creating impact. You become a steward of abundance, a channel rather than a container. The more freely you allow it to move, the more freely it returns to you. This is the eternal cycle of energy, and Psalms keep you connected to it. To understand wealth as energy is to free yourself from the limitations of mere material thinking. Money is not the ultimate source, it is a reflection of alignment. When your life vibrates with faith, gratitude, and trust, as Psalms guide you to, wealth flows unhindered, multiplying and circulating in ways that exceed effort alone. In that flow, you discover that prosperity is not something you chase. It is something you attract, embody, and release. The principle of multiplication is one of the most powerful truths hidden within the spiritual realm, and when understood, it completely transforms the way we approach prayer, wealth, and abundance. This principle is revealed in the idea of 70 times 7, a spiritual law that represents limitless multiplication. It tells us that what is released in faith-filled declaration does not return as it was spoken. It comes back multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Multiplication is the natural response of spiritual law when words, prayers, and actions are aligned with divine intention. When you speak Psalms of prosperity with faith, you are not merely releasing words into the air. You are planting seeds into the soil of eternity, and every seed carries within it the potential for exponential harvest. Think of a single grain of wheat. Alone, it seems small, insignificant, unable to do much. But when that seed is planted in fertile soil, it multiplies into a stalk bearing many grains, each of which has the power to create even more harvests. The same is true of prayerful declarations. One psalm spoken with faith may seem simple, but in the unseen world, it multiplies into streams of favor, unexpected opportunities, and divine connections. The words carry energy, and energy never dies. It expands, it creates, it circulates, and it returns multiplied to the one who released it. The law of multiplication works beyond the limits of logic and human calculation. In the natural world, 1 + 1 = 2. In the spiritual realm, one declaration of faith may return us 10 blessings. One seed sown may return as 100-fold harvest. And one act of generosity may ripple across generations. This is why the principle of 70 times 7 is so significant. It represents the truth that multiplication in the spirit is not linear but exponential. There is no ceiling to what can return when faith is released consistently. This principle also explains why the tongue holds power over life and death. What you release multiplies. If you speak lack, fear, and doubt, those seeds multiply into more of the same. Scarcity breeds scarcity because the energy you project attracts and multiplies in your environment. But when you choose to release psalms of abundance, gratitude, and increase, those words multiply into streams of provision. It is not magic. It is alignment with the law of multiplication that governs the unseen world. You always reap more than you sow, and you reap according to the quality of what you sow. 70 times 7 also carries the message of persistence. Multiplication often requires repeated planting. Each prayerful declaration is like another seed scattered into fertile ground. Alone, one seed brings harvest, but together, countless seeds ensure fields of abundance. This persistence is not about desperation. It is about consistency. The more you align your spirit with psalms of wealth, the more seeds you are planting, and the greater the harvest that will return. Over time, the principle of multiplication ensures that the flow of prosperity becomes unstoppable. Another powerful truth within this principle is that multiplication does not only return in the same form it was released. You may declare a psalm for financial increase, and the return may come as an unexpected business idea, a divine connection with someone influential, or wisdom that saves you from loss. Spiritual law knows no boundaries. It multiplies not only in quantity but in variety. One declaration of abundance can return as peace, health, favor, and provision in multiple areas of your life. The seed you release may not return in the same shape, but it always returns multiplied. The principle of multiplication also reminds us of responsibility. If what we release multiplies, then we must guard carefully what we speak and declare. Words are never wasted. Every prayer, every psalm, every confession plants something. You cannot expect a harvest of wealth if you continually sow seeds of negativity, fear, and doubt. But if you faithfully release psalms that affirm increase, gratitude, and prosperity, the multiplication will ensure your harvest is overflowing. Ultimately, the principle of 70 times 7 is about abundance without limit. It is a reminder that spiritual law does not operate on scarcity. The universe is vast, overflowing, and abundant, and when you align with psalms of wealth, you tap into that limitless supply. Every declaration you release sets multiplication in motion, and what comes back to you will always be greater than what you gave. The power of this principle is simple yet profound. Your words are seeds, your psalms are codes, and your faith is the fertile ground. When you release them, do not expect a small return. Expect multiplication beyond measure. For in the realm of spirit, nothing ever comes back as it was sent. It always returns 70 times 7, overflowing, abundant, and multiplied in ways beyond your imagination. Wealth with purpose is the highest expression of abundance, for true prosperity was never meant to stop with one individual. It is not simply about filling your pockets, expanding your accounts, or acquiring possessions. Genuine wealth arrives with intention. It comes to flow through you as a channel of blessing, touching families, communities, and generations yet to come. When you begin to see wealth this way, your entire relationship with money changes. It no longer becomes a matter of selfish gain, but of stewardship. You stop asking only, how much can I get? And you begin asking, how much can I give? How far can this blessing reach? How many lives can be transformed through what flows into my hands? True abundance does not stagnate. Wealth that is hoarded in fear eventually withers, but wealth that flows with purpose multiplies endlessly. Think of water when stored in a stagnant pool. It grows dirty and lifeless. But when water flows in rivers, it nourishes everything in its path, bringing life to fields, animals, and people. Wealth behaves in the same way. It was never meant to be locked away with selfishness, but to circulate with generosity. The Psalms of Prosperity remind us that wealth is given as both a blessing and a responsibility. When you declare these Psalms with faith, you align not only with the flow of money into your life, but also with the wisdom to use it in ways that extend beyond yourself. Purposeful wealth transforms families. Many households struggle under cycles of poverty, burdened by debts and lack. When abundance arrives with intention, it breaks those cycles. Parents can provide education, stability, and opportunity for their children, ensuring that the next generation starts further ahead. The ripple effect of purposeful wealth means that one person's abundance can rewrite the destiny of an entire lineage. Instead of lack being passed down, provision becomes the inheritance. Wealth, when guided by divine purpose, is generational. It leaves a legacy that speaks long after the original steward is gone. Purposeful wealth also transforms communities. Imagine neighborhoods where people use their abundance to build schools, hospitals, shelters, and businesses. The wealth that flows through one individual can create jobs for many, education for children, and hope for the struggling. Psalms declared in faith do not just open doors for personal increase, they create an overflow that spills into the lives of others. The wealth you attract is not meant to stop with you. It is designed to impact the people around you, lifting communities out of despair into empowerment. Another dimension of wealth with purpose is that it carries protection against greed and emptiness. Many who accumulate riches without purpose find themselves restless, never satisfied, always craving more but never experiencing peace. This is because money without meaning cannot fulfill the soul. Purpose anchors wealth in significance. When you know that your abundance is helping others, transforming lives, and shaping futures, it brings a joy far greater than any luxury item could. Purposeful wealth feeds not only the body but the spirit, reminding you that prosperity is sacred when it uplifts humanity. Wealth with purpose also multiplies more easily. When you use money as a channel of generosity, you prove yourself a trustworthy steward. The universe responds by releasing more into your hands, knowing it will not stop with you. Giving creates flow, and flow invites more abundance. The Psalms of Prosperity echo this truth. Those who bless others are continually refreshed themselves. Your abundance becomes an unending cycle because what you release comes back multiplied. In this way, wealth with purpose ensures not only increase but sustainability. Finally, wealth with purpose shapes generations. Think of the seeds you plant when you use your abundance wisely. You invest not only in immediate needs but in the future. You create scholarships, start businesses that will outlive you, or leave behind resources that continue to bless long after you are gone. This is the true measure of prosperity. Not what you consume, but what you contributed. When Psalms are spoken with this understanding, they do not just bring money into your life, they bring vision. They align your spirit with a legacy that ensures your name is remembered not for riches hoarded, but for lives transformed. Consistency creates overflow because repetition engraves truth into the deepest parts of your spirit until it becomes second nature. Wealth, abundance, and prosperity are not just conditions you step into randomly. They are states of being that flow from the inside out. When you consistently pray, meditate upon, and declare psalms of abundance, you train your mind, your emotions, and your energy to align with the reality of prosperity. Over time, this practice transforms lack into expectancy, doubt into certainty, and scarcity into overflow. What begins as an intentional discipline eventually becomes a natural rhythm of your life, and from that rhythm flows a stream of wealth that cannot be stopped. Human nature often craves instant results. Many speak a psalm once, pray a single prayer, or make a declaration, and when immediate change does not appear, they give up. But the spiritual realm responds most powerfully to consistency. Each prayer is like a drop of water hitting the same stone. One drop may not show much effect, but continuous drops eventually carve through even the hardest rock. Each declaration builds upon the last. Each meditation strengthens your inner alignment, and together they create momentum that grows stronger and stronger. Eventually, that momentum bursts into overflow, producing visible results that no one can deny. Consistency also rewires your subconscious mind. Most people have been programmed from childhood with thoughts of limitation. Money is scarce. Wealth is only for a few. Prosperity is out of reach. These beliefs sit deep within and silently shape behaviors and outcomes. By consistently declaring psalms of wealth, you override those negative scripts. You replace fear with faith, scarcity with abundance, doubt with confidence. At first, it feels like work, but with repetition, the new pattern becomes permanent. Soon you no longer struggle to believe. You simply expect wealth to flow because it has been engraved in your inner being. Another reason consistency creates overflow is that it builds trust with the spiritual laws of abundance. When you show up daily to align yourself with Psalms, you are proving your seriousness, your dedication, and your faith. This constancy is rewarded with greater manifestations because the unseen realm responds to perseverance. Just as a farmer waters his field daily, even when the seed is still hidden beneath the soil, you too must water your spirit with declarations and meditation. In time, the harvest becomes inevitable, and the consistency ensures it is not a small harvest, but one of overflow. Consistency also develops resilience. Wealth does not always flow in a straight line. There are seasons of waiting, testing, and stretching. When you have built a consistent habit of prayer and declaration, you do not collapse in these seasons. You remain steady, continuing to align yourself with abundance, regardless of outward circumstances. This steadiness is what carries you through delays until the breakthrough arrives. Those who waver or stop too soon never reach the overflow, but those who remain consistent discover that even in the toughest seasons, prosperity still finds its way to them. In addition, consistent practice keeps the flow of energy open. Just as a stream must continue moving to stay fresh, your spiritual energy must remain in motion. Daily psalms, meditations, and declarations keep the channel unclogged. Without consistency, doubt, fear, and worry creep back in, blocking the flow. But by staying consistent, you ensure that the pipeline of abundance remains wide open, allowing wealth to circulate freely into your life. The greatest beauty of consistency is that it makes overflow natural. At first, you may have to remind yourself daily to pray, to declare, to believe. But eventually, it becomes who you are. You no longer need to force yourself. You live in the rhythm of abundance. Your speech naturally reflects prosperity. Your thoughts naturally align with increase, and your energy naturally attracts opportunities. Wealth is no longer something you pursue. It is something that flows to you because your inner state radiates it constantly. Consistency is the bridge between desire and manifestation. It takes what begins as a hopeful wish and engraves it into the fabric of a being until it becomes your reality. By repeatedly praying, meditating, and declaring psalms of abundance, you build a spiritual foundation so strong that overflow is inevitable. Wealth becomes not an occasional blessing, but a continual state, not a rare occurrence, but a natural lifestyle. Consistency transforms the extraordinary into the ordinary, ensuring that prosperity is not a momentary event, but an unending flow. True abundance is never selfish. It is designed to flow. The wealth you attract carries a divine assignment to bless your family, to strengthen your community, and to inspire future generations. It is in this flow that prosperity finds its fullest expression. Wealth with purpose turns ordinary increase into extraordinary impact, proving that the greatest joy of abundance is not in keeping it, but in releasing it. The journey through these revelations has shown us that wealth is never an accident, nor is it only the result of effort and struggle. It is the product of alignment with spiritual law. The Psalms we have uncovered are more than sacred writings. They are wealth codes, divine formulas that unlock abundance when spoken with faith. We began by learning that these Psalms hold power as spiritual keys, designed to open invisible doors of prosperity and release blessings into our lives. Then we discovered that wealth is not just material but energy, and when that energy is aligned through Psalms, it flows unhindered, circulating in a natural rhythm that cannot be stopped. We saw the mystery of multiplication, where every declaration sown in faith returns multiplied beyond measure, carrying the principle of 70 times 7, abundance without limit. We understood that when Psalms are declared, they have the power to shift the atmosphere instantly, breaking heaviness, clearing blockages, and creating new opportunities that were hidden only moments before. We embraced the truth that wealth is never selfish, but purposeful, designed not only to enrich us, but to flow through us, breaking cycles of poverty in families, building stronger communities, and creating legacies for generations. And finally, we were reminded that consistency engraves these truths into the very fabric of our spirit. Daily prayer, meditation, and declaration turn prosperity from a distant hope into a natural lifestyle, ensuring that overflow is not temporary but unending. The conclusion is clear: wealth, when rooted in divine alignment, is more than money. It is a state of being, a spiritual flow that attracts abundance, multiplies it, and directs it toward greater purpose. When you live this way, you no longer chase wealth, it is drawn to you. You no longer fear lack, you live in overflow. You no longer worry about tomorrow. You carry the certainty that prosperity is both your inheritance and your responsibility. So as you rise from this message, remember that the Psalms are not just words to read, but keys to use. Speak them with faith, declare them with expectation, and repeat them with consistency. Let them tune your